So we have been harvesting fennels, as you saw in the previous video, or in the previous section of this video. And what I've been doing is harvesting it and laying on the ground all the prunings, if you want, all the bits that we're not selling. These leaves could be used for pesto, obviously, but now they've been hit by the frost a little bit. You can see the browning, and so they're not good for selling. And a couple have remained in, actually. But you see that I'm using those as a shield for the compost in the beds from the elements, from the frost, and from the rain, especially because the rain can hammer the soil and then even the mulch, the compost in this case, down and really damage its structure, weigh on it. So anything that can cushion that effect is very important. And in this case, we have some lettuce on the side which is still growing, so it will benefit from the thermal buffer. We put some leaves in the pods where there was less wood chip, and again, I wouldn't necessarily do this normally because it can encourage slugs in the spring. So it's good now, it will be good until February, but if you have a mild winter like we've had in the last few years, this can really encourage slugs. Now we're going to leave this garden, we don't know what's going to happen next, probably nobody's going to run it as a business, so I'm more interested in protecting the soil. I don't mind if there's going to be a few more slugs, and also there's no point me using a lot of my energy and time bringing this to the compost over there, because I don't know if that's going to be run as a compost system anymore, composting system. So it makes sense for it to stay where nature would leave it, on the ground, protecting, shielding this soil. And in some cases you can have a living shield, and in some cases you have to have a dying, decomposing shield. Same thing here with the Chinese cabbages. Again, this would encourage slugs enormously, so that, again, that's not advisable unless it's a piece of ground where you're going to have perennials, trees, or you're not going to grow things in the following year. Or if you're going to have ducks run over this. So another approach to this might be do exactly what I've done there, exactly what we've done here, and then run ducks in the spring over this, and they would eat all of the slugs, and so you'd be clean. Again, look at this. This is a crop, not a weed, called Claytonia, and it's covering the soil in between the beetroots, and so it's doing a good job. Here, carrots. I've harvested the carrots from this bed and left the leaves on the ground. Wood chips are better than leaving on the ground this green material, because they don't attract slugs as much. But again, if you have the possibility of having ducks, or if you are going to plant only trees and perennials in that section, it's okay to leave the prunings to protect the ground, and they will become compost in situ, in place, so they will save you a lot of energy to turn your bin and things like that. But yeah, otherwise wood chip, but do not leave that soil in the pods and in the beds uncovered, because that's a recipe for disaster. So leave it covered either with living plants, wood chip, prunings, and in the beds with compost, a thick layer of compost. At the very worst, you might put some plastic on, but that's rarely the best idea. I would rather use something living. Another option is dead leaves, if you have a lot of tree leaves. But again, this is just to show you a different way of doing